My name is Madeline Lush. This is my series on the current global pandemic. I painted 5 portraits of my fellow students on campus because I really was interested in how the shift in portraiture has happened so quickly during this past year with COVID. And I really wanted to share how we perceive people differently because they're masked and have half their face covered. And I wanted to look at how students on campus have done normal activities and sports and art and lab while masked, and how that has changed the way I have perceived people. I've always done portraiture since I was really young. So this year has been really interesting in learning how to see people in a different way. And the project was super interesting. I was able to paint friends and family, mostly friends, around campus doing their activities that they would normally be doing without masks and without social distancing, and how that has changed the way we look at each other and look at how we usually depend solely on recognizing faces and emotion. Each of these paintings are oil on canvas, and they're relatively big. I wanted them to kind of feel like the student is right there with you. And I have always loved doing oil and have grown to love it throughout my time at Westmont. And so I really wanted to challenge myself in doing larger portraits and really focusing on the face as portraiture is normally done, but they're doing like activities while I'm portraying them. And each of the students' activities have some correlation to their own personal lives. So they might be an artist or in STEM or in choir or into athletics. So I did want to portray them accurately also.
What part of the painting process do you enjoy the most?
I love painting the face the most. I think that's like what I tend to focus on. But I also really love getting really good details within like the folds of their clothes and like the hairs. I think that's the most interesting. And it's also why I chose to blur the background so that the focal point is the face and what they're doing and focusing on.
Approximately how long does it take you to do a portrait this size?
Lots and lots of hours. I honestly couldn't tell you how many hours I spent on these, but yeah, it was well worth the time that it took to do all 5. So,
and yet you were able to finish the final painting in how long?
In the span of probably 2 days. I spent probably a month on the first one, and then time kept ticking. So, yeah. I learned I could paint faster than I probably originally thought.
Were the models posing for you live?
I took photo reference of them. I would ask them if they would be comfortable posing for this, mostly because I wanted the lighting good for the portraits, because a lot of times if it was in person, lighting wouldn't be super accurate for up close portraits. So yeah, I had them pose.